Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes' Tottenham blog and to another episode of Transfer Talk. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the latest news we've heard regarding the situations of Danny Rose and Giovani Lo Celso. And before I get into this video, if you want more transfer content like this, please subscribe to the channel for free down below and like this video. Now, so we all heard yesterday that Danny Rose had been left out of our squad travelling to Singapore and Southeast Asia on our pre-season trip in order to try and finalise a move away from the club. Now, there's a lot of differing reports saying that a move was going to be completed this summer, and Danny Rose was trying to get that done as quickly as possible. There are other reports were saying that there was going to be a new contract signing for Rose in the next few days, and then we'd sell him in January, preferably at a higher value. And there's others saying that he wanted to stay and fight for his first team place. A lot of different things, and of course he did make those comments after the Champions League final that there was a possibility he could leave and he had to make a decision when he came back to pre-season training, and it looks like that decision has been made and that Danny Rose will be leaving the club this summer. Now, Sky Sports have reported in the last few minutes that PSG are leading the race to sign Danny Rose this summer. Tottenham apparently only want £20 million for Rose, which I think it's a really low price, and I wouldn't quite be happy with that. I know obviously the money side of things isn't something that fans should be overly concerned about, but if it is a thing where we do need to sell players to make new signings, I do think they should be looking for more than 20 million for him. Of course, Kieran Trippier completed his move to Atletico Madrid yesterday for £21.7 million, and that's also quite a disappointing fee. And for Roses to go for less than that, I think there'd be a lot of questions asked of Daniel Levy. And although it does seem like a low price, I do think we have to take into consideration that the transfer market for English players is so overly inflated, and that's because the majority of English players play within the Premier League. So when they transfer from club to club, it's usually within the league, and that itself boosts up the price. And obviously an English club buying an English player will value him a lot more. So with the majority of transfers of English players, there is a lot of factors that really bump up the price. So when he's going to a European club, obviously we shouldn't expect as big a fee. Like, you only have to take a look at Harry Maguire, for example. United willing to pay £80 million for him. There's not a chance any club in Europe would even consider paying that. So you'd have to take that into consideration. But it is quite still a disappointing fee, £20 million. Apparently Schalke are also interested in Danny Rose, but from the player's point of view, if it is a decision between those two clubs, he would pick PSG because he wants to leave for trophies. I'm sure is his main priority. It would be disappointing to see him go. He's been such a good player for us since he joined here in 2007. He's been a main part of our team, both defensively and going forward, because of that really attacking fullback role Pochettino likes to implement. But it is part of what Pochettino was telling us to expect, that it will be a painful rebuild to get the team to the same level that the stadium is at. And the reports are saying that Pochettino is unhappy with his defence, and he feels like that's what cost us in the league last season. Obviously our best season defensively was back at White Hart Lane our last season, and the only player we've really lost since then was Kyle Walker. So he obviously feels like that defence just hasn't gotten better since then, even though we have, of course, signed Davinson Sanchez since then. So that's where he wants to do most of his building this summer. We're still interested in Ryan Sessegnon. That deal, Sky Sports reported last week that Tottenham are staying patient in it, but the deal is still progressing really slowly, but it does look like one that could be completed this window. I don't know if Ryan Sessegnon is the ideal replacement for Danny Rose. Obviously he's a very similar player, but he's certainly not at the level of quality that Danny Rose is at, and he struggled in the Premier League last season, so I don't know, would it be a good idea to throw him straight into the first team, or will Ben Davies, after signing his new 5-year contract, will he be expected to step up a lot this season? And I say step up, but Ben Davies has been a really good part of our first team, and when he has played, he has gotten the job done, but I think he kind of just lacks that pace that we need in that fullback role. And I think that's another similar thing to why Kieran Trippier might have been shipped out, is because you need so much pace when you're essentially playing in the fullback position, but you're also a winger. Because towards the end of that season, we were kind of playing a 4-1-2-1-2 formation, where the two centre mids were very narrow, so the fullbacks were the key part of our width going forward. And bringing in players like Sessegnon and maybe Aurier being our starting right back, if he does stay next season, you kind of understand that, because they do need that pace going forward and stuff. But again, it does look like Danny Rose will be leaving this summer, and according to Sky Sports, PSG are the favourites to sign him this summer. Now, as for Giovanni Lo Celso, talks are apparently still ongoing between the two clubs. Sky Sports did report that the talks had broken down and it would be revisited if Christian Eriksen left Tottenham this summer. But almost every other outlet is saying the talks are still ongoing. Some are saying a deal is really, really close to completion. But I think from what I've read anyway, I'd assume that the talks are still ongoing at the moment, but there's nothing agreed yet between the two clubs. Now, Informa Betis are a very reliable source for Real Betis in Spain, and they're reporting now that Benfica have joined the race to sign Giovanni Lo Celso. Again, I don't know how true this is, but I wouldn't imagine Benfica would be willing to pay that much money for a player. I know obviously they have just sold João Felix to Atletico Madrid for over £100 million, so the money side of things wouldn't be a problem for them. But they're more of a team who are kind of similar to the likes of Ajax and stuff like that, where they build the players through their academy, they win a league, they win a cup, and then they sell them on for a lot of money. That is what they're known for. But if they do want to make a statement, if they are looking to kind of build themselves as a European team in the next few seasons, this will be a massive signing for them. So I think if Benfica are willing to pay the money that Betis want, which is about £70 million, I think Tottenham really need to step it up and get this deal done as quickly as possible. Because of that money Benfica have just brought in for João Felix, that will be absolutely no problem to them if they are willing to make that change in their kind of transfer strategy. So if this is true, it is a bit worrying with regards to whether or not we'll actually sign someone who, aside from Ndombele, is and probably should be our main target this summer. So it is a bit worrying, but I think Daniel Levy, because of what he knows he needs to do this summer, this could be something that would spur him on and just really make him get this deal done. I would ideally this deal would be done before would have been done before we went on our pre-season tour, but obviously the players are in Singapore at the moment, so that's not obviously that's not going to happen. But I can't imagine Pochettino will be happy with what's going on at the moment, because he said he wanted his deals done by the 8th of July, and it is the 18th today. And I don't know if when he said 8th of July that was, a final date, that's when everything has to be done. I imagine it was because he knew Daniel Levy obviously wouldn't do that, but he wanted to get them done as quickly as possible. And as I said, ideally before the pre-season tour, but that's not going to happen. So it is worrying now that Benfica have joined this race, but hopefully Levy will get it over the line before the start of the season. And for an update on another two of our transfers, our targets, Dani Ceballos and William Saliba, both of them are looking like they will join Arsenal this summer instead of Tottenham. And obviously Arsenal fans are getting all excited about this, saying even though they're in Europa League, they're still a bigger club. But I think the fact that these two players are choosing Arsenal, particularly Ceballos, it does maybe suggest that that isn't true, as we know it isn't. Because Dani Ceballos, he doesn't want to leave Real Madrid in a permanent deal. He wants to be loaned out, and he said he wants to play 40 games a season, and he sees Arsenal as a better team to get game time, and impress Real Madrid in the hope that he can go back there and get into the first team in the coming seasons. So from that side of things, I do think that's not something to be embarrassed about, because he's picking Arsenal because in his eyes essentially they have a worse squad and he's a better chance of getting in there. And also Tottenham were apparently pulling out of the deal because they don't want to sign him on loan and then just forget about him in a year's time when he goes back to Real Madrid. They wanted something in that deal that would see them sign Ceballos next summer. Because if you're integrating someone into the team like that with the project that's going on at Tottenham, you wouldn't want to have to spend a year in a player and then have to do the same thing there next season. And also Pochettino would see that as a player coming in and hindering the development of a youth player that could be thrown in there. Players like Marcus Edwards. If he is in Pochettino's plans, Ceballos coming in would hinder his development, and essentially for nothing, because he'd be leaving again in a year's time. Even though he would add quality this season, in the long term, it's not the ideal situation. And with William Saliba, Tottenham did register interest in the player, but there was never any official bids. So, and again, he's a young player who would be looking obviously for game time in the coming years to try and develop himself. But this move for him would essentially be a stepping stone in his career. If you see, because he's picking Arsenal, because obviously he wants to go on and win trophies. That's what every young player wants. And without trying to be funny again, it's Arsenal aren't a team where he would go to do that. So I assume he sees him as a stepping stone. And with players like Lauren Koscielny leaving the club this summer, and potentially Shkodran Mustafi as well, that is probably the best move for him. And I said this when we were first linked to him, that if he was picking game time and he was looking further into the future rather than just next season, he would probably choose Arsenal. And another thing in that is Tottenham weren't willing to loan him back because we could potentially be losing Oliver this summer. So maybe that's the thing with him. He wanted to stay with Saint Etienne for next season, or the club themselves needed a loan back option in that sale. So that's all for this video today. If you do want more transfer content like this over the remainder of the transfer window, subscribe to the channel down below. It's completely free. Please comment what you think about Tottenham's latest transfer activities, and don't forget to like this video. Thanks for watching.